to talk. It's more like a workshop, yeah? A little bit of both. Beyond Little Mind, learning English for self-exploration, exploration and creative expression.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical, and all the birds in the trees, well, they be singing so happily, oh, joyfully, oh, playfully, watching me.
So, can we all give him a hand of
Then they
applause?
sang
Using language as play. Most of the time, people who are learning English as a second language are learning it for academic purposes, especially students from middle school on. But there are, of course, other ways to learn language and to use language, and one of those is play. So part of what I'll have you do in the first exercise is to get you to start seeing how simply by playing, simply by putting something out there without thinking about what the language means or what you're doing with it or grammar or structure or all of that, can bring about a piece of writing, a poem or a story.
logical, oh, responsible, practical, and then they show me a world where I could be so dependable, oh, clinical, oh,
Using language through a creative process can make it personally relevant. When language becomes personally relevant for a language learner, it takes on new dimensions. It takes on greater significance. I talk about big mind and little mind. Little mind is, as we know from psychology, the ego. Most of us think the little mind is the one in control. But anybody who knows something about psychology will tell you what's really in control is big mind. Big mind is the subconscious, the unconscious of the person. So the real work of a writer, I explain, is to gain access to big mind. The problem is, little mind keeps pretending that it's in control. So the real job of a writer is to slip past little mind so that you can get access to big mind. This is what I want you to do. I want you to take that piece of paper and I want you to make 12 X's on that piece of paper. Not big X's, small X's.
cynical.
Okay, now I want you to take your pen or pencil, and for each of those X's, I want you to punch a hole in the middle of it.
There are times when all the world is still.
Okay, now, I want you to take the book that you have, the magazine that you have, I want you to open it to any random page. On a second piece of paper, I want you to have that available. What you do is for each hole, I want you to identify in that text a noun, a verb, or an adjective, and write it down. So you have a list of 10 different nouns, or verbs or adjectives. For each hole, you look through the hole and you find...
So we put these things on the page.
Right, exactly. You look through the hole and you find a noun, a verb, or an adjective. Okay, now, the next step, and this is the real part.
We draw open and so.
Okay, you ready? You're going to write for each word a line of something. Okay, it can be either a line of poetry for word number 1. The first line uses that word. No matter what else you say, you use that word. Or it can be a sentence. The first sentence you write, or you're writing a story instead of a poem. The first sentence has the first word in your list. The second word in your list is in the second line that you write, or the second sentence. And you do that for all 10 words. It doesn't matter what you write. You simply write whatever comes. For line 1, word 1. For line 2, somewhere in there, word 2. For line 3, word 3.
Please
something really good there.
I said, now what would you say? They'll be calling you a radical, a liberal, oh, fanatical criminal. Oh, won't you sign up your name? We'd like to be your acceptable, respectable, oh, presentable, a vegetable. Oh, take it, yeah.
The bee, when the grass finds the tree and the black cat claws at the trunk, no matter what the difference is between the cat clawing and the bee watching, it is always the beautiful same sunset, and it is always the immeasurable distance, which never seems to be what the cat risks. And that, not a word, that is what the cat, when the cat and the bee are good. What book did you read?
Dr. Seuss.
No, it wasn't Dr. Seuss. I
Give me your
do
words.
have sort of watered down the same idea.
Give me your words.
Bee, cat, grass, claw, difference, watching, sunset, distance, risk and good.
Who else? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very nice part because I also wrote about cats. Probably they have the word cat. It was Monday morning when the usual invitation to an extremely fashionable charity party arrived with a pile of letters. It was organized by the local Save the Cats campaign. The extremely reasonable thing to do was to accept. I mean, I love kittens, but I denied it, and since I was so tired, I fell into a heavy sleep, dreaming of dogs chasing cats.
What's happened here? You started with something completely random, or almost completely random. You played, and in playing, I erased it, you let go of Little Mind. Little Mind relaxed. Oh, he or she is playing, no big deal. I can go think about something else. And through randomly putting things together, and not thinking about meaning, that's important, you let things come out that was coming out to some depth from Big Mind. And then, when I asked you to look at it and write it again, Little Mind comes out. Little Mind starts doing his or her work on that piece of writing. And you turned it, if you made any changes, maybe you didn't have to, but you turned it to some extent into something that was a little clearer, a little more coherent, a little more interesting, things like that. That's the essential way that writing works for many writers. And the benefit of this for second language learners is, the benefits are that one, they're not using language for an intellectual, logical, rational purpose, which is the way almost all of them have learned to use the language if they're doing it in school or in frontisterio. Two, they're using this new language to explore themselves in some way. Now, they may have done that with their first language, but they probably haven't done it with their second language. And three, once they've generated the raw material, they're coming back and applying all that knowledge about the new language, the target language that Little Mind has, onto the creation of text. Not because it's something that's going to help them further their academic pursuits, simply because it's something that they're enjoying. You saw how much you enjoyed it. And that's a very different kind of language learning experience than the way most young people are learning English. The essential point, and I'll conclude with this, for us teachers of ESL is that the more meaning and significance a second language learner can come to by using English, the better his or her second language skills become, no matter what the context that they're learning. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go like this.
We would like to thank you for this wonderful workshop. This small token of our appreciation.
Thank you.
Round of applause.